Welcome to a Mighty Mods Q&A session curated by our friends over at Car Throttle.
That's right. They organised for a bunch of questions to be asked and
And ask my anus.
Ask me
anything. So this is from the Car Throttle community. By the way, you're watching, this is MCM TV2. This is our second channel. This is not our main channel. Our main channel's over here, which is youtube.com/mightycarmods. This is just our secondary channel where things like this go. So we got a bunch of questions sent in to the Car Throttle website. Martin.
That's right. And the answer to the first question is yes, this is the hat from the Gramps episode.
No one asked that, but thank you for sharing. Martin, what equipment do you use on your videos? Cameras, mics, and software?
I use those drills that you hand wind.
GoPros, Canon 5Ds, Final Cuts.
We use drones, Phantoms, S800s.
Rode mics.
Yeah.
Pro Tools for post.
Yeah. Nothing that exciting, but if you want to get into that kind of stuff, that software is so cheap these days. Just get it and experiment.
Yeah, I mean, definitely for the first few years, we just used iMovie on a laptop. And in fact, when I was editing turbos and temples, the computer couldn't handle the whole thing. So it was actually done in like 6 pieces of like 10 minutes each. So it was like an edit, and then exported, and then the next bit and exported, and then those 6 pieces put together. So don't let technology get in the way. Go make something awesome.
It's caught up though. It's pretty good now.
That's what I reckon. Martin, what car do you regret selling the most?
Oh, there's 2. Can I say 2? They're the same kind of thing. Both are random, old, obscure Japanese.
Oh, don't talk about Cheryl. Oh, sorry.
Japanese
import
cars.
Sorry,
not
mate.
Big, heifery. Anyway,
she's all right.
Yeah, she's all right. Now there was 2. One was my Holden ZZT Gemini, which was way back in the day, and that was like an 80s model thing, twin cam, LSD, 4-disc brakes, aircon, all the stuff that you didn't get in the 80s. And then the March Super Turbo, which all you guys saw, which is a rad little car. Replace it with Subarus, and there's been some cool Subarus since then, so it's okay. What about you?
Vehicles I regret selling the most: Nissan Silvia S15.
That was so.
I'm not going to say I regret selling the S13 because I didn't sell it; it was destroyed. And my DRZ 400 SM Super Motard. I wish I had it.
That
and the Silvia. That's all I needed.
Cool. That was a good combination of vehicles. You had them at the same time, didn't you?
Yeah, it was good.
Such a good combination.
Back when I was
cool.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Are you guys fans of any... Oh, sorry, I forgot the name. Should I be saying the names of these people?
They can figure out his names. Don't worry.
Great White North Shark. Are you guys fans of any motorsports? Do you regularly follow any racing series? Not really. I'm going to say not really.
I love motorsports as long as I'm driving. I don't particularly like sit there watching TV going... Meow, meow.
I respect that they do it.
Unless it's all my mates out there at a track day. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we did go to Bathurst this year and we like that. We like things where Nissans win.
It's pretty cool.
And other things win.
I didn't bury any beer though.
No, so in Australia a little while ago they implemented a rule where you could only have 1 case of beer per person per day. That's not enough. So apparently what people were doing is they were going to the grounds that eventually get closed off and they were digging a hole in the ground, burying their beer, and then later on when all the fences go up they were using a GPS to go back dig up their beer because 1 case was not enough. Australia!
Literally like treasure. It's crazy.
So yeah, we love motorsport. Prefer to do it than watch it. But anyway, Mark Brown. Marty and Moog, I was wondering what happens to all the cars from previous episodes and builds when you guys finish with them, like the Ratted Out Golf, Drift Build 240, the Zombie Car, the Franken Cressy. Would you ever consider doing an episode where you chase down some of the old cars for a big MCM car showdown? That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Most of these are dead though, aren't they?
I was going to say...
People wrap them around trees
We'd
and
need
stuff.
an excavator to get a lot of them out of the ground. But that's okay. You know what? That is a thing. That is a thing which I'd like to talk about. There's a lot of value that's put on those cars because so many people know about them, but you know, a lot of those cars are props and it's more value in kind of the story than the actual metal itself. So if that metal then gets passed on to someone else who, unfortunately wraps it around a tree or you know, just sits it in a paddock, it's kind of not cool. So I was like with the Blue Turtle, it was about having a warrior's death, wasn't it? Because that car was, was done.
And of all these cars that are mentioned, just so I can say, the Ratted Out Golf, as far as we know, that doesn't exist in that form anymore. The Drift Build 240, I don't know where that is. It's still drifting around somewhere. Zombie Car, completely destroyed. Franken Cressy, that was destroyed, wasn't it? Didn't someone wrap that into a tree?
Oh, no, someone put it into a gutter.
Into a gutter?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a hard thing, because in the past sometimes when we finish cars, and we've kind of auctioned them and we sold them to cheap for fans. And look, let's just be completely honest here. People have bought them and then used them to promote their business. We don't really like that. It's not in the spirit of what it is.
It's not in the spirit, or buying it to try and make money off it. And it's kind of like not really the idea. We're really lucky with the show car. James Jenga, one of the guys you've probably seen on some episodes, He bought it, and that car's epic. It's got like a 4-cylinder 1.3 turbo, custom ECU, all this mad stuff, and it's great when that happens. But you can't really pick your family owners, new owners. You can pick your new owners, sort of.
All right, good. John Schrader, does it bother Moog that people whine about his Honda all the time? No, because I did.
A bit.
I whined about it.
You know what else whined? The diff.
Okay. It didn't really worry me. You know why? Because it's like everyone's into different stuff. It's funny because everybody's kind of like, you know, they think it's meant to be a big, happy community. And it doesn't have to be as long as it has positivity. You don't have to love Hondas, you don't have to love Nissans, you don't have to love Commodores, and you don't even really have to like respect them. You just kind of, well, you kind of do, but it's more just about going, that's your thing, that's their thing.
It's putting energy into hating them. That's a waste of time.
Yeah, that is a waste of time.
Like, you don't
it's
have
like
to like
sports team, you know? It's like, oh, I don't like your sports team, but it's still cool, it's part of the game. So cars are just players in a big old game that we should all be having a whole lot of fun with. Henrik Cubista, hey Marty and Moog. Have you ever considered doing a guide on how to install a sunroof in your car, or is it too complicated? Go Straya.
Sunroofs. So there's two sunroofs come, like when you go and buy a new car, two ways. They either come from the factory.
From the factory leaking or aftermarket leaking?
Kind of what he said, but yeah, like if they come from the factory, generally they're kind of done well. You can get aftermarket sunroofs. They put in as dealer options. It was really popular, particularly in the 80s and 90s, to get dealer options where they have a template, they cut out your roof, and if you pull it all off, you'll see the rusty bit where they didn't paint over it. And that's where the problems start. The old Liberties and Legacies that I've owned, a lot of them would come with aftermarket sunroofs, and real hit and miss. Like some were great, some weren't.
I think like when they're done like proper from the factory, they've got all these like channels that are going down different parts of the car. And I know the Volkswagen, when I bought my Mark IV, you know, said to the owner, it's like, hey, is there anything wrong with it? He'd go, no, it's great first storm. I'm swimming in there. Got a snorkel going out the sunroof because all the channels are filled up with crap and they're blocked up.
So I wouldn't do it in an older car. If you really want a sunroof, go buy a car that's like a factory sunroof. But yeah, like a lot of the time, even sunroof cars, I like the idea of it, but then in practice owning it when it starts leaking on you, really, how often do you actually sit there and get sunburned?
No one wants a big open gap leaking on their base. Do they?
No, definitely not.
Martin, Kermie, CER, Kearney the Frog, ever considered to make a diesel mad? Yes. Trangy M Cells, Marty and Moog, greetings from Belgium. Congratulations on your chocolate. Just watched the S15 Sylvia series again and noticed that you guys said we bought another car. Does that mean that you partly own each other's cars and that you always buy your cars together? Keep up the good work, love the show, cars and humour. You know, no, so I bought the Sylvia, he buys whatever cars he buys. But they do end up becoming a we, because the we is greater than the part of the money that you spend to buy the car originally when you're kind of working on it together. It's so I don't know.
We're both on screen generally, so it's like a we. It's our car. We did this to the car.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I mean, certainly it's like, you know, I bought the car. It'd be good if Marty put in for it. You could put in for my car. I'll put in for yours. The word on the street, Martin, the conspiracy theory that I'll neither confirm nor deny is that you actually paid for the Honda S2000 and I paid for your MX-5. And if we actually tell the truth, the S2000 is in your name, the MX-5 is in my name. That's a fact. Hi MCM, Gabs, what's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done in your car? Can I start?
Yeah, of course.
And I'm going to reveal something now that's kind of embarrassing. So, when I used to own a 180SX, it was a 1994 model 180SX. Now, the Nissan people out there will know that after the CA... Sorry? Alright. After the CA came out in like 1989, in 1991 they went to the red top, SR20, and then in 1994 in Australia they released the S14, but in Japan they had like a kind of an intermediary Type X that was a black top. Come on, man.
Sorry. You do it to me all the time.
Yeah, but your cars are boring.
EJ20, EJ25, D8. Sorry.
Anyway, so I had a 1994 180SX, and that's kind of rare because people normally have up to 1993, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, cut a long story short, you know, I'm young, I'm learning stuff. I'm still young and learning stuff.
Who cut a long story short?
Shut up.
Someone else
anyway,
did, you didn't.
So I went down to some like auto store, and I said, I need a oil filter, 180SX. And they go, what year is it? And I go, 1994. Big mistake. Shouldn't have done that. So what they did is they gave me an S14 oil filter, when actually they should have given me an S13 red top 180SX engine. But because it was 1994, the number made them all confused, whatever. I did my own oil at home. I'm a young little dude. I think I'm a bit of a legend. Then I'm driving in the middle of Sydney City, up near Surrey Hills. Oil light comes on. What's going on? it's the wrong oil filter, Martin. And my car has ejected it. It has blown it off the side. I hate when that happens. And there's oil all over the street, closed down multiple lanes of the city, like city coming to a standstill. Oil went all over the bus lanes. Absolute nightmare. And yeah, that I was embarrassed because I had to like sit next to my car with a big thing of oil. This is way before Mighty Mod's time. This is like a long time ago, but it was still embarrassing.
All I can say is, and this happened a few days ago, just really double check that your trailer hitch is like proper on there. Luckily it happened on private property, but it did happen. I was like, that's a weird noise, and I looked back and there's just no trailer there.
Oh, okay.
So
really?
Just double check it's proper like stomp on.
I have been driving along with dirt bikes on the back. And left home with a couple of dirt bikes and arrived with only one.
And the other embarrassing one was crashing my micro into a ditch.
Yeah,
that really sucked.
I mean, I've been teasing you about that. You shouldn't try and drift like front-wheel drive things on the dirt.
Okay.
We got that photo. We'll put that photo up sometimes. Yeah. Drifting on micro. This is from Astro. Hey guys, I know one thing that bothers me looking for fun cars in the UK is how many fun cars like Supra, Sylvias and often MX-5s are readily available for good prices with automatic transmissions. Have you ever considered doing a video on doing an auto to manual transmission swap? Did we do that already?
We've done it, and you know what? The process is always the same. Trick the ECU into thinking that it's in neutral. Put a clutch pedal in there. Get a different ECU if you have to, and run some wires for reverse and your neutral switch. It's pretty much the same, unless you got a car with like a separate TCU and all this garbage. We did it on the little green show car, so check that one out. And we did it on something else. Oh, the Gramps build. That was auto to manual. So maybe check that out.
Zane Arby, hey MCM, are you gonna do a build on a muscle car in the future? That would be pretty cool and different. You know, I think the best place to do that would be to go to America and do it.
I'd love to.
You know, go to America, fine. I mean, if you guys want us to, go to someone there that's got a bit of a garage, knows what they're talking about. Because I'm gonna be honest, it's like I don't know much already, but I definitely don't know anything about muscle cars.
I want to go there and I want to learn. I feel like if you're blasting through America somewhere in an American muscle car where they're invented for the roads they're invented for, that'd be rad. We could do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Engineering Explained says, do Australians partake in the joys of sweet iced tea?
Yeah, but not as much as the rest of the world.
Do they?
I don't reckon. We have it
What
here.
is it?
It's iced tea. It's like basically more sugar than soft drink.
It's cordial.
It's kind of weak tea and it's really sweet and it's like snotty almost.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What's your favourite drink, Martin?
Watered down ginger ale.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I think my favourite drink would have to be a thick shake with malt in it. Actual malt.
Too. I feel like that's more like a meal than a drink.
Patrick Domansky says, when is Marty going to buy a Nissan and will we ever see any rotary love?
I've owned Nissans and I also love rotors. But rotors are a bit like muscle cars as well. Like they're just a whole different thing, and you know it's good to learn obviously, but it's a massive shift away from what you know. And when your car breaks on the side of the road and you're trying to get it going and you know nothing, so. Definitely going to play with one at some point. That's a good idea. At some point.
A few people want us to.
I love the sound. I know that's contentious, but I love the sound.
If we can address the rotary in the room, you may remember a little while ago we did a video on Tuning Fork. On screen said that rotaries were two-stroke engines. So do you remember that?
That was hilarious.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing: is
he was being a bit cheeky.
Yeah, he was being cheeky, and because he has friends with rotaries, and he always teases them. Like people go, "Oh, you got a Honda? That's a lawnmower." And it's funny because there's a lot of we originally made this show as I don't want to say it's a joke, but we made it as a bit of fun for our friends. And so there's still a lot of in-jokes and a lot of stuff that we say that is for specific people. And that line was for a very specific person, and it worked because they were very upset.
Yeah.
And
the rotary we had in Lend Us a Ride, that was pretty cool too. That was really fun getting in and driving that and blasting along the highway.
Yeah.
The
point was though, is that it doesn't quite translate to the audience because a lot of people think that it should be factual. So like what you're saying, it's often not about facts, it's often about being silly. But yeah, rotaries, we love them. Yeah, Series 7, RX-7.
I love the theory of them. I know that they can chew seals and doors and use heaps of fuel, but it's just cool. It's so different.
Yeah. What's the funniest mod you've ever seen? This is from Michael Mip Island. The Mickey and Minnie exhaust in your feature film cracked me up. Was pretty funny. I don't know.
I had the most laughs, I think, on TRD Laser. Like, that was ridiculous. And it was also, like, just trying that thing for the first time.
Yeah. The car was $92.50, and I think we both agreed that's the most fun, in terms of fun,
straight up fun. I mean, it was in the early days, too. And just, like, flames up the side. He just goes, can you get me some yellow paint? I'm like, yeah, why? And the next one, look, he's down, I'm like, painting these massive flames, which then we drove around.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Pretty ridiculous.
But funny, I don't see many funny cars. See funny people driving around all silly.
Doing funny things.
Jack L. Anson. Okay, serious one. When and how did you guys meet? How long did you have the idea of a channel before it came a reality? I'll do the quick version.
Yeah, do it.
So Marty and I met at a recording studio. I were working, teaching. And Marty was the engineer, I was a musician. We'd been working together for ages, went to the car park. He saw that I had a 180, I saw that he had a Liberty GT twin turbo. And we're like, is that your car? Is that your car? Ah! And then, romance, Twilight, all that kind of stuff. Went for a drive and we're friends ever since. Later on, I was working at a recording studio in Sydney, down in Darling Harbour, and needed to employ someone. I rang Marty, said, do you want a job? He said yes. He came down. He had this horrible idea of making a blog called cleanandgreencar.org about what was it about?
One word for you people, Tesla. Clean and green, all the way. I was ahead of my time, even though no one would have read it for like at least 10 years.
Oh, speaking of which, quick segue, by the way, our electronautical Stig, Mouseworks, now works at Tesla. He's the one that he helped us with our intercooler episode. He was the editor of the first 2 episodes of the Mighty Car Wars magazine. He took all the official photos of our first show car.
He helped us on the Civic as well.
Yeah, he helped us, and
Been
now
there since the beginning.
it's like headhunt. See you later. Now he works at Tesla.
Yeah,
Legend.
There's a container on your driveway. Put all your stuff in it and come build electric cars. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's great.
Mad
We got
props.
a lot of awesome people at
Mad
the car,
props.
but thank you. Hello, Vincent. Please don't forget us because you're awesome.
I'm gonna come visit you, man.
And so then Marty came up with this idea of doing a blog. Everyone knows the story. I owned a Jeep then. I went, this Jeep sucks ass. Sorry, Andrew Hawkins. So then I sold that, bought a little car, and then Marty knew about cars. I knew about camera stuff, so I studied film and I'd travel around Australia. I'd been doing documentaries for years. And the original idea of the show was Marty was meant to fix the cars and I was meant to say some silly stuff. Nothing's really changed, really. Because Marty spent all of his teenage years up till that time working on cars, and I spent all of my time working on cameras and editing and music and stuff like that. So originally, if you look back at the very first episodes, it's like, Marty fixed the thing and now I'll tell everyone about it. Marty wasn't meant to be presenting or doing voiceovers, and over time, he kind of started doing more production stuff and I started doing more car stuff. But Marty's still we kind of default to you for technical things. It's like, we go to the driveway and it's like, we need something done. Well, Marty's driveway, Marty's tools. He'll twist a thing and I'll film it because that's our speciality. But then sometimes we swap.
And sometimes we do some really whack stuff, which comes from the very interesting mind of this young man, which has been awesome. Like the zombie-proof car.
Thank you, Mum.
On my driveway was pretty cool.
Those neighbours, they didn't like us very much,
Ooh,
did they? Adrian Harold, hey guys.
How many we got? We're running out of time.
I don't know, Martin. We'll keep going, it's the internet.
Oh.
Hey guys, being an up-and-coming filmmaker, I was wondering which aspect of the creative process do you find most difficult when creating each episode of MCM? Along the same lines, I was wondering what gear you're currently working with, and also if one of you does more of the post-production work than the other. That kind of...
Depends on the project.
It depends on the project. What I will say is projects like Gramps is like in Marty's brain. So Marty kind of, he's filming them and he's kind of up there working on the cars. So Marty's doing the kind of, I guess, the more technical based episodes, if you want to kind of put that hat on. I've done the more ones like Key to the City, Turbos and Temples, the Rat Golf, those kinds of things. Those ones I'm editing, voiceovering, writing, stuff like that.
So you get a bit of variety.
Yeah, a bit of variety, but it's a bit of both. Which aspect of the creative process is the most difficult? We don't have any scripts or anything. We're just totally ad-libbing, making it up as we go. It was a bit different when we were doing Lend Us a Ride because we kind of needed a bit of a rough storyline and we worked out ways we can do that differently and better next time and blah, blah, blah. But that was a big kind of learning experience to try and plan it out. But what I will say, and I think a lot of people who are making videos or watching videos quite don't understand, I reckon the time of us actually making videos, what percentage of our time do you reckon it would be?
Oh, so little.
Like 5%, 10%?
Yeah, that's when it's like, make more videos. It's like, oh, hang on, like the amount of time it takes to do that in a way that isn't just, oh, look at me with my iPhone doing my thing, which I personally don't want to watch.
Yeah, there's heaps of research, heaps of emails. Even when someone like puts a sticker on their car in the Netherlands and goes, one of the stickers fell off, can you send us another one? And we send them another one. Oh, my address is different. So lots of those emails, they take up lots of time and stuff. Is it going to ruin our audio, Martin, if I put this on?
As answering to the creative process, it's stuff that gets in the way of the creative process, I think, is the hard part, isn't it? Because if you just had total freedom to just kind of film stuff whenever you wanted, that'd be brilliant. That's obviously the dream, but...
Yeah. A cool tip that I learned recently is people just said, if you want to get lots of stuff done, check your email later in the day. Because when you wake up in the morning, you check your email at 8 o'clock and then you're like, all these things then take your attention, but really you should just be left in your own little creative zone to do your thing.
Set aside time for it, yeah.
Shaz Ferrari, Moog, remember in that episode in season 2 you guys used a bottle of piss to restore the headlights of Sylvia? Yeah, that one. Anyways, in the end of the video we saw Marty throwing piss into your face. Of course the vomit scene was obviously done up using projectile vomit, that was fake of course. But with the part of throwing piss in your face, yeah, he threw piss in my face.
He didn't know it was coming either.
If so, Marty, what were you thinking and what was the reaction you expected? I had to ask this out of curiosity.
Well, since the truth is, I mean, like, it's all about
very pleasant, was it?
It wasn't, but I mean, look, unpleasant stuff's happened to both of us, and in some ways you want the real reaction, don't you? Because if I'd said to him, hey, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to like...
Well, I wouldn't have agreed to it for starters. I'm going to throw this piss in your face.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
And look, it wasn't nice, but the reaction was pretty awesome. The other one I'm proud of is the vomit machine. So just look up Mighty Car Mod's vomit machine. This is just awesome.
I don't want to say this question because I don't want to promote it.
Yeah, who is that anyway?
No, it's not the person, it's what happened. Do you remember? It was on the news.
I don't know.
I just don't want to talk about that one.
I don't know what that means.
Really? There was a car the same as yours that was involved in some illegal activity. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what the outcome was or if it was organised crime or something weird, so I don't really know.
But everyone associated, it's not my car.
But Marty didn't do it.
Country,
Marty's Gramps was not involved in any illegal activity.
No.
And you know what else we weren't involved in? I got an email from a lady, very, very angry, who told me she was ringing the police. She said, I'm ringing the police, making a complaint, and I said, what have I done?
It was like a 3-word email first, just saying, not very happy, and then you're like,
yeah,
sorry,
what happened? Anyway, she saw me parked in a disabled spot over in Canada somewhere. And I had to explain, I do not live in Canada, and I haven't even been to Canada before. And she wrote back and said, I saw your company name, mightycarmods.com, on the back of a car in a disabled spot.
Didn't bother to read to see what we
I don't know, I'm on the other side of the planet, there's people all over the world with
But
stickers.
don't park in disabled spots if you're not disabled.
He may have been disabled though, we don't even know this.
Apparently he didn't have a pass, so don't be a dickhead.
Henry Phillips, what would your dream project car be?
Live in it. He is too, but you got to wait and see.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
He is too. It's all about the cars that make you feel something.
That's right. And what I am going to say, Martin, is the next car, my roots, I'll never sell it. Ever.
Do you know what? I don't think I'll ever sell Gramps.
No, it'll never go on. It's like I'm trying the Honda thing. I'm trying different stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to taste all the colours of the rainbow here.
Yeah.
But at the end of the rainbow is my little pot of gold, and I'll never sell it.
Not exactly little though, is it?
Garth Brooks.
Hey, he's a famous dude.
Gavin Brooks.
Oh.
Hey MCM, you guys rock. Just wondering if either of you could only drive one car for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? We count to 3 and then we say it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
VW
RS6.
Beatable.
A what?
VW Beetle.
Really?
No.
The question is, if either of you could only drive one car for the rest of your life,
I
what would
thought
it be
I meant
why?
what car would I have driven for the last 50 years of life?
No, if you had to pick a car right now and keep it forever. 1, 2, 3. RS6.
That's a really hard question.
I'm moving on, quick.
Daihatsu.
Really?
Any of them.
Because in the apocalypse of the planet, it's cheap for fuel and stuff?
Yeah,
like pumping
cockroaches. The cockroaches, they survive nuclear war, and so would a Daihatsu. Just can't kill them.
That's not true. Anyway, on average, how much time is spent shooting, narrating, and editing a video? I'm going to lay it on you strong. When we come up with the idea of making a video, I reckon it probably involves a 1 or 2 hour bit of like a quick research, jump on the net, do some stuff. Then it's about buying the parts we need, getting all those things together. Might take half a day driving around, picking things up, having some conversations with people. Then shooting on the driveway would be a full day. Sometimes the weather comes in on us, and because we're shooting outside, we don't have a space or whatever, we've got to stop and then film again the next week. So often it's a couple of days shoot. Usually the way it works is they talk about kind of ratios, edit ratios and shooting ratios. So for like 1 day of shooting, you might have 2 or 3 days in post-production in terms of like the editing and voiceover and the music. It depends how big the episode is. If it's a key to the city, it takes months. If it's how to wash your car, it's a week or 2.
And just the way we shot it. So for example, some of the Honda builds, some people really liked when there was no music and no voiceover, that kind of stuff. It's like it's a stylistic thing, do it a bit differently. Yeah. It still takes a long time to do.
Yeah.
So just to pick it all out and make sure it actually makes sense.
I mean, to give you an idea, one piece of music to actually put that together, and it doesn't happen in 3 consecutive days, but coming up with the chords and a melody and laying down an idea might be a day. Then writing the lyrics and getting a singer might be a day. Getting it mastered is another day. So one piece of music might be 3 or 4 days, and that's a 3-minute piece that goes in a long episode. So your average episode, I reckon it's probably 3 to 4 days of solid work.
Yeah.
And which is tricky because we're doing this on the weekends and before work and after work. Some people think that this is like what we're doing every single day. This is our hobby, which is hard because when you're being like judged on your hobby, it's like being judged on like how well you mow your lawn or something. Because this is not what we do. We're not professionals or mechanics or engineers. We're just stuffing around on the weekend.
And for example, for something like Grants, when we're shooting every day or shooting at a workshop where it's really time critical, it's like you start at 7 in the morning, you go through to 6 o'clock at night, have a quick feed, and that whole night you spend assembling all the footage and getting it so your day's literally like 18 hours long, start to finish, and you do that 7 days in a row, and then you got to do the post-production on it, so a lot of time. And
when we're doing things like Key to the City, for example, is because we're working till Friday and then working again on Monday, it's like get a flight late Friday night, fly to Japan. Key to the City was shot in 24 hours. We picked up the car, I think, at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and we dropped it off 2 o'clock the next day. So it's a bit over 24 hours, and then fly back so we can go back to work again. We're just trying to maximise what we can do in the time. Lucas Merck says, MCM seem to get up to some track-based shenanigans every now and then in a Marty and Moog showdown. So has grassroots racing ever been considered by either of you, such as sprints, regularity, motorcar, etc.?
Racing's expensive. It really is, grassroots or not. I mean, if you've got all the ability to fix your own car, it can be cheaper. Is it still working?
Yeah, Martin.
Yes, technology. It can be. It can get quite expensive if you start breaking stuff and all that kind of thing. I was really excited with the MX-5 to do a lot of that. So that's why most of the videos you saw of me on a normal racetrack, not at the drags, was in the MX-5. It's a great little car for it. But yeah, breaking stuff, wearing out tyres, wearing out brakes, like it does age your car.
We'll do some mad track battles this year,
particularly your road car. Yeah, track battles for sure. I love it. There's also it's also about finding a track that's close to home that doesn't cost a heap of money, even just to go to a track that can cost you half a week's pay or whatever.
And on that point, I had this dream once that I owned a Honda and you had an MX-5, and in the dream we'd made the financial decision to go, you work all day in your normal job on a Wednesday, and then you go, now we've got to do a battle so we can make a video, and instead of like driving 3 hours to go to a racetrack, you go to the drag strip, you pay $50, you do your race, it's a bit of fun, and you go back home again. In the real world, I think like, if you had the time and the money, you would go to a track and you'd do that. And I would like to do that some more.
If you had a racetrack in your backyard.
F3XY, I'm assuming that's Foxy or Fexy. What's the worst car you guys have ever owned? Holden Camira. That's it. Holden Camira. You?
Worst as in
MX-5, you reckon?
Well, that was a dream. Worst would probably be, I had a Cordio, which was pretty bad.
Is that the one that we owned for 3 hours? The one that we went and bought?
That was a Gemini.
Oh, was it?
I bought it and sold it the next day. No, I had a Cordio there. 80s front-wheel drive rubbish. But, I mean, I still loved it because I think it was my first turbo car. But, like, as a car to drive, it was pretty frightening.
Yeah. All right, good. Ryan Cheong, what's your favourite supercar? Should we still do it on 3?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Grants.
GTR. Thanks everyone who's been watching and supporting the show. This is AMA, brought to you by Mighty Car Mods and Car Throttle. Have a lovely day, drive safe, be awesome, and build the car you want to build, because there's going to be a whole lot of chumps out there that are like, I don't like it. I remember Rake telling me once that he was sitting like in his Skyline, and someone yells out, that's not a GTR, that's a GTT. And he looked up and it was a kid in a school bus. So he's like driving along in his like turbo car and a kid from a school bus. That is the internet. The comment section is children in school buses yelling out. Like, that's what it is. So anyway, so thanks, Martin. It is dinner time.
Oh, is it?
You know what it's time for, Martin.
Not tofu, but
sorry?
It's not going to be tofu, I can tell.
I'm going to try some meat tonight, Martin. Lamb shank. Never had one.
Lamb shank. Hang on, is lamb technically sheep or is it like little lamb?
Don't know, man. Tasty.